Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi. Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
All of a sudden, it's very interesting. All of a sudden, so many of these legacy lefty media outlets are kind of flipping out over the possibility that the Republicans might win the midterm elections. Very interesting. Redistricting decisions. Supreme Court, of course, no racial gerrymandering. The Virginia Supreme Court ruled out the redistricting, the phony redistricting. Florida is adding seats. Tennessee is adding seats. The job numbers are going up. The economy is looking pretty good. The stock market is looking very good. All of a sudden, it's just one headline after another. It's, it's really fascinating. So let's talk about this. We have Liz Peeek, Fox News contributor. We have Steve Moore, WABC radio host of More Money, plays on most of these same radio stations right after this show. Welcome back to both of you. So, Liz Peeek, lead off for us. I mean, there's just a flurry of headlines from unlikely places that suggest the Republicans might win the midterm elections. Ha, ha, ha.
Well, let's not count our chickens. But the reality is this Virginia decision was pretty huge, and the Supreme Court decision was pretty huge. The bottom line is Virginia seems to me to be a sort of one-off in terms of the Democrats there doing something that they knew was pretty sketchy and could be overturned, and indeed was. But the Supreme Court decision, I think, is really a welcome change. The idea that we cannot include race in how districts are formed, obviously in Democrat-heavy states, that is a big deal because they traditionally do that. They always want to do it because they get 85% of the black vote. So they figure any district that they make a majority black district or it's black and Hispanic, they're going to win. So this is a pretty big deal, and it isn't just Louisiana, obviously. It's a lot of southern states which are now looking to change their districts, but also New York. Look what they tried to do to Representative Nicole Maliotakis, who is in a district, one of the few Republican districts, obviously, in the New York City area, but they wanted to redistrict her basically out of a job by saying her district didn't have enough blacks in it, and they came up with this ridiculous sort of excursion into other boroughs to make her district probably go Democratic. And the courts battered it down. So, Larry, I hate redistricting. I think it's an awful process, but it does look like Republicans have an edge here. I don't think that Trump kicked off this flurry. It was Democrats in New York that tried to do it. Trump responded in Texas, and then it was sort of no holds barred. But I think, look, Republicans are also winning. Steve Moore had the most wonderful piece come out about wealth going from blue states to red states. Policies matter, folks. And even in crazy blue states and cities like Los Angeles and California, there's a chance Republicans break through because the Democrats are doing such a lousy job.
Well, Steve, I mean, it's so wonderful. Wealth going from blue states to red states sows the population and so the congressional seats. I mean, this is a long-term trend, but it's going to rear its head. I mean, let's look at Florida, right? So DeSantis, who may or may not join the Trump cabinet or may or may not run for president. We can talk about that in a moment or two. But he's adding 4 seats for redistricting that will help Republicans pick up 4. And I think Tennessee is helping. And of course, Virginia will not do what it was supposed to do, as Liz pointed out. So all of a sudden, it looks pretty good for the Republican team.
Well, I like your optimism, Larry. I think it's going to be hard for the Republicans to hold the House, but the Senate is looking better, and that will be a big deal if the Republicans can hold the Senate. Usually the party out of power loses about 20 seats in the midterms. So I'm not going to bet on the Republicans to win the House, but I think that it's 50-50 now that they could actually hold the Senate. Look, I despise gerrymandering. I can't believe in the year 2026 this is still going on. I blame both parties. It's become an escalation. I think we should just take politics out of the, I do think this is a danger to democracy, that you've got all these states. I'm from Illinois. The way they're shaping districts is outrageous. What's happening in some of the red states, I think, is improper. Why do we have to have the politicians do this? This is 2026. You can have computers just draw compact districts. The whole idea of a congressional district is that it represents the people in that area. It's a representative form of government. You've got districts that are now like 100 miles long in a lot of these states. And so I hate it. I think a pox on both parties for doing it. I don't know how you de-escalate this. But I also agree entirely with what Liz just said. The idea that you'd have racial gerrymandering in 2026 is ridiculous. Can't we be post-racial? This is not the South of 1965, Larry. And so I hate that too. And I just want to see politics taken out of this. I don't think it's appropriate to do, in the middle of a decade to do this redistricting. That should be outlawed by the courts. But meanwhile, I do like your message on the economy. Boy, remember a month ago, all these liberal economists, we're heading for stagflation.
Yeah.
Stagflation.
And recession.
High unemployment.
We've had three.
Now we're seeing the opposite.
We've had 3 recessions in the last 6 weeks. I mean, it's unbelievable. And now all of a sudden, the last 2 job numbers blow that out of the water. And you can almost look at any piece of data. ISMs are strong. Yeah. Unemployment claims are low. Productivity is high. Profits are soaring. Right. Investment. I mean, look, right. Business is on a boom. So there's no recession, and you can't phony up the districts anymore. I don't know. I think the GOP has a very good chance of winning the House. But the point is, let's talk about what they should do. Let's have one big, beautiful bill. Okay. I'm going back to, my idea weeks ago. I keep pestering senators that come on the show. How about tax cuts? How about waste, fraud, and corruption, for example? How about voting rights? Let's go to these issues. Let's be aggressive. Newt Gingrich was on the show last night. Let's be aggressive. Get the messaging out. Don't be bashful. Let's be aggressive.
And I think Republicans really need to lean into that, because right now it just seems to the sort of casual observer that Congress really hasn't come up with much, which is why congressional approval is so terrible. And frankly, both parties look pretty bad in terms of popularity right now. But Larry, I do not understand why senators are resisting this. Why are they For example, we all talked about change indexing capital gains. Right. And Cruz is out there talking about capital gains. I can't imagine that 90% of the country would not be on board with this, because they either have investments that they're going to have to pay a tax on, or a house, or a business. And all 3 of those are going to get completely murdered by some states and some cities like New York City, which treat capital gains as ordinary income. They need to really do this. And why don't they do it? We have the House. We have the Senate. I agree with you 100%. They need to pass another big bill, solve this whole problem of financing Homeland Security, maybe in perpetuity. Give them money for better oversight of voter rolls and things like that, which Democrats are resisting like crazy.
They've only done one thing. They've only done one thing in 2 years. Think about it. They've only done one thing.
I keep asking too, and they're not even embarrassed about it. I really don't understand it.
Tommy Tuberville keeps saying this every time he comes on. Now, he's leaving to run for governor of Alabama. I'm sure he'll win. But he keeps saying we don't do anything up here. Yeah. I mean, they've only had, think about it, one big, beautiful bill. That's all they've done. Now, there's been a lot of yapping and, thising and thatting and the usual back and forth. But in terms of actual work product, they're a little short. I mean, private sector business productivity is rising, but you can't say that about Congress. Productivity is declining. Unit labor costs are rising. Anyway, I don't want to go too far down that road. I'm just saying, go for it. Now's the time. Be aggressive. All these issues the Democrats are pushing are very unpopular.
Well, look, I agree with that. And I think, look, the Republicans that I talk to say, well, we just can't get it done. We can't hold everybody together. The Democrats all vote against it. Let them. Let the Democrats say we're against indexing capital gains. We're against, photo
IDs,
ballot security.
Mm-hmm.
We're against we're against trying to root out fraud in government programs. I have to confess, I was on CNN last night, Larry. I was cheating on you, and there was a discussion about some of these very issues, and you summarized it very well. Republicans are very unpopular right now, but you know who are even more unpopular than Republicans?
Yeah.
Democrats.
Yeah.
And so I made the point, look, Democrats need a Sister Souljah moment. They have to basically throw out the radical leftists that seem to be the voice of the party, whether it's Bernie Sanders, whether it's AOC, whether it's Mandami. Those are the only people who are getting any message out, and it's repugnant to voters. Choke the rich, let people steal food from grocery stores.
It's a reverse Sister Souljah.
Messages. And by the way, Barney Frank, you may have seen this in the hotline.
Yes.
He's he was no conservative, by the way, right?
He was a friend of mine.
Yeah. Well,
we used to debate around the country.
He issued a statement last week saying the Democrats are crazy today. It's not enough, for example, to say that we're against defunding the police. You have to denounce that idea, and they will not do it. They will not stand up to the left wing.
He's going to write a book about it.
He should.
I think he has. I think that's why he's out there talking about it. But Rahm Emanuel is talking about it. I mean, there are some Democrats saying we are really on the wrong side of almost every issue, and they are.
Rahm Emanuel.
And that's why.
Yeah, but hang on. Rahm Emanuel is went up and endorsed this socialist communist Nazi running for the Senate in Maine. All right. So did Chuck Schumer. They all ran to endorse this guy who had a Nazi tattoo, and he's using a plastic surgeon or something to take it off. He's self-proclaimed communist. He's self-proclaimed socialist, and they're all endorsing him. Okay. Yeah. And Maine. Did
Rahm Emanuel endorse this guy?
Yes. Yes.
I'm so disappointed with Rahm. I thought he was common sense.
Yeah, I thought he was running to be sort of in the middle of the party, so that is kind of odd.
There's only one common sense Democrat leadership. That's
John
Fetterman. That's right. And Dave McCormick and some others tried to talk him into switching parties, but he's not going to do it.
He's not going to.
Okay, but I'm just saying, they're Newt said this last night. Turning point. When Trump at the State of the Union, remember, and he keeps making statements and they don't stand up and clap. And then he turns to the camera and says, they're crazy.
Right.
They are crazy. They're crazy. It's the left-wing party, but that's the crazy party. Sarah Sanders said it in her rebuttal a couple of years ago. There's a normal party and there's a crazy party. Guess which one is crazy?
They're also afraid of the far left, and it's really kind of ruining their party. I mean, Chuck Schumer is the poster child for this, but he's terrified of AOC, who really is a nitwit. I mean, she's very capable on social media. I get that. Pretty girl, but she makes no sense half the time. And that is who Chuck Schumer, who is supposed to be kind of a statesman at this point,
he endorsed him.
I mean,
he endorsed the guy in Maine. He endorsed the guy in Maine.
It's appalling.
Seriously,
it is appalling.
It's unbelievable.
It's all about money, Larry. It's all about money.
It's a war against success. It's a war against capitalism, free market capitalism. It's a war against anyone getting rich in this country. It's a war against the American dream. It's a very insidious. And when you hear AOC, who's a major voice in the party, saying nobody can earn $1 billion. No one can earn. What about Fred Smith, who started a business from nothing? The greatest transportation company in history. You know, you were saying he didn't earn it?
Yes.
What about Nancy Pelosi? She started with nothing and was the greatest investor in history. Steve Moore, is Ron DeSantis going to enter the Trump cabinet and or run for president? There's a lot of media hype about DeSantis. What do you think? What do you make of that?
Well, first of all, I think Ron DeSantis has been one of the best governors in the history of the United States. I mean, the Florida miracle is real. And when Liz was talking about the wealth transfer out of blue states, almost half of that wealth transfer, $1 trillion, has gone to Florida. And it is the new New York. It is the new California. When I talked to Ron DeSantis about a month ago, he did an event for us at Unleash Prosperity, and he said, for the my first term, all the people who were coming to California were from New York and from Connecticut. You see the New Jersey license plates, and now he said we're seeing all these California license plates. And you can't say people are moving to California from California to Florida for the weather, because both states have beautiful weather. So it's an amazing thing. I think he's been incredible. He's been pro school choice, pro free markets. He'd be a great president. And I think the question is whether, if he were to become Attorney General, which I think he's got a shot at, would that be a good stepping stone? I don't know. Maybe it would be.
Liz, what do you think? He ran a very poor presidential campaign. Very, very poor.
Sorry to interrupt.
I got to tell you, I was
running against.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I was just down in Palm Beach with a lot of the people who had funded his gubernatorial campaign, who are extremely close to DeSantis, think he's an incredible governor. They think he has zero chance of being nominated to run on the GOP line for president. And the reason is simply that he is politically, oddly, just not very adept. I mean, he can't work a room the way Bill Clinton did. He can't, when he's a room full of donors, he doesn't remember their names. It's just sort of stupid stuff, but it sort of matters. And you have Marco Rubio, who they all think is fabulous, who came from Florida, of course. He's their pick. And I say they because I really talked to a lot of people in the last couple of weeks down there. They think here's the path for DeSantis that would be incredible is Attorney General, Supreme Court. And I think a lot of people think he would make an incredible justice if Clarence Thomas decides to resign, or Alito or somebody else. So that would be my choice for him. I think he'd be amazing.
It's a story of, I know a donor who gave his campaign $50,000 and then tried to call him, talk to him, never got his call returned. And I think
that's what you're hearing.
I mean, I hear a lot of that, but I think Steve is right. He's been a very good governor of Florida and has a good track record. He talked mostly social issues, not economic issues, but whatever.
Hey, Larry, can I mention someone else?
Yeah.
Doug Burgum. I love Doug Burgum. He's been an amazing Interior Secretary. Remember, he came within an eyelash of being the vice presidential. It came down to Doug Burgum and J.D. Vance. And the guy is just a thorough professional. He understands the markets. He's not flashy like Trump. And maybe after 8 years of Trump, people may not want to flashy. They just want somebody who can do the job. So he would be, he ran for president, of course, last time, and I think acquitted himself very well.
He was very good.
I'm going to throw his name in the.
I think America is ready for a president from North Dakota.
Exactly.
Or with enormous.
I'm telling you, America is ready for it. What's the population of North Dakota?
Less than a million.
It's about 600,000-700,000.
Larry, I think I would disagree with you that DeSantis doesn't talk finance and economics. I co-hosted an event for National Review down in Palm Beach that had he spoke at it, and he talked a lot about budgets, comparing his to New York, about taxes, etc. He gets it. He understands why he has been successful. I mean, the fact that New York's budget is twice that of Florida's with about the same number of people. I mean, it really just speaks volumes for how badly managed New York is. I just think his personality gets in the way, and I love him. I think he's an incredible governor. So, find a spot for him where his common sense, thoroughness, and talk about professionalism. He's extremely professional. I think, honestly, there's a spot for him elsewhere. And Attorney General would be fantastic.
Steve Moore, why our very, very dear friend last minute, our very, very dear friend Art Laffer.
I know where you're going with this.
Right. Still coming out to tax unrealized capital gains. And by the way, he was on the show with Doug Holtz-Eakin. And
you're taking them to task on that.
We really did. We really. I mean, I don't know. It's less than a minute, but why is he staying with this terrible policy?
Well, no comment, Larry.
All right, we'll leave it there.
My guru.
We love him. He's brilliant. He's taught us just about all there is to know, but not on that one. Liz Peek, thanks very much. Steve Moore's show coming up on most of these same radio stations. I'm Kudlow.
The Larry Kudlow Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Marine Toys for Tots foster care program is bringing hope to children who need it most. Every 2 minutes, a child enters foster care, often with only a small bag of belongings. More than 400,000 children face trauma and uncertainty, many before age 8. This May, during Foster Care Awareness Month, Toys for Tots is creating Room for Joy. In 2025, nearly 375,000 children received comfort through toys, books, and essentials, reminding them they are not alone. Donate now and change a child's life.